call the Development Review Board to order for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024.
Great. First thing on our agenda are minutes. We have minutes from two meetings, the August 6th meeting and the June 18th meeting. We can take them separately or together, depending upon your pleasure. And if you don't have any concerns about either one, we could take them together.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I abstained because I wasn't there.
Okay. It's okay for you to vote if we don't have quorum to get all the votes.
Okay.
But if we can get 4 votes, that'll be fine, yeah.
All of those in favor?
So we'll do 4 votes in favor. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. All right. Next item on our agenda is the reading of the witness oath. And we ask that everyone who speaks to the board this evening to sign in over at the podium. And it includes the following oath statement. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pains and penalty of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the board at the board's public hearing held on this date shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. So again, that sign-in sheet is over there on the podium. We do ask you to sign that before you speak to the board this evening. Next item on our agenda is disclosure of any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest regarding the matters tonight. And Jane?
I consulted with Susan Beal and David Pearson about 4 years ago. I haven't seen them since, but if someone is concerned, I would be happy to recuse myself.
Okay. Does anybody from the board have a problem with Jane serving? Anybody from the audience? Okay, thank you. So Jane, you're all set. Thank you for that disclosure. All right, we have 4 hearings and some other business this evening. So we'll get started. The first hearing on our agenda this evening is Bradley Roy at 1124 Harwood Hill. Mr. Roy is seeking approval for agricultural equipment sales on his property. And I see Mr. Roy is here this evening. Brad, if you could sign in and let everybody know, introduce yourself and give us a little description of what you are hoping to get approval for this evening.
Hello, I'm Bradley M. Roy, 1124 Harwood Hill Road, Route 7A. I've been there for 18 years. I'm seeking approval for ag equipment sales. It's already zoned for that purpose. So what I have is just a blueprint. So I don't know if you guys...
Everyone should have those plans, yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And just so you guys know, that was included in your packet as well, so it's not new information.
So pretty much property has a screen around it, trees, shrubs, it's pretty thick. And where I want to park the equipment is behind the building that's there, which is about 155 feet back. It's about 30 feet off the property line. And you know, most of the equipment I buy and sell now doesn't even hit the yard. So it's just, this is pretty much for, you know, recording with the state.
So how much equipment are you going to have there?
I mean, there's room for probably at least 10 pieces.
And what is the equipment, sir?
Just pretty much farm equipment, hay wagons, hay balers, you know, tractors, pretty much, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Are there going to be tractor trailers coming in here to deliver them?
No, they can't get in the driveway.
Go ahead.
Do people bring you equipment that they can't use? How do you get hold of it?
How do I get a hold of equipment? Pretty much online. Do it all online.
So you find it and bring it in?
Right.
How much maintenance of equipment do you do there? Do you do oil changes?
No.
Hydraulic
No.
work?
Do you plan on any signage?
No.
What kind of turnover do you have?
With how many,
I
like,
mean, you know, if you get a hay wagon, how long does it stay there?
I mean, probably, you know, it all depends, you know, it could be a month, could be a year. I mean, you know, some of the stuff I buy, I like to move quick to make some money. I mean, I don't plan on hanging on to everything for a long time, you know, so I like to move stuff pretty quick.
Is any other questions from the board?
Number none.
Any questions from the audience? Okay.
Brad, we'll have you sit down, and then folks will come up, and if there's questions for you, the board will ask you to answer them after they've heard the questions.
And just please sign in the oath.
I will.
And then any questions or comments come to the board, not to people in the audience.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Any questions or comments is towards the board, not towards anyone in the audience.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I do have a statement, I do have some questions, but I have some
And
statements too.
just state your name for the record.
I'm Ruth Krosick, my husband in the audience is Alan. We're adjoining neighbors to the north and the west of Bradley. We're here tonight to let you know about our concerns about his proposal to sell agricultural equipment at his home. We're concerned about our visibility and safety driving out of our driveway, as well as the safety of those on Route 7A, as this has been a problem in the past. We're also concerned about our joint residential curb cut with Bradley. I'd like to read a paragraph from a letter from the State of Vermont Secretary of Transportation. Mr. Roy's permit was issued for a residential drive access only. Commercial use of this access has not been authorized by the agency, and any such change of use would require submission of another Section 111 permit request. 1111. At that time, the agency would then consider any appropriate changes or modifications of the current drive access configuration that was deemed necessary. Local zoning and/or Act 250 approval would likely be required for this change of use as well. I have included this letter in the handout that I gave you. We have several questions, one of which has already been answered. What kind of equipment is it? Sounds like it's going to be a wide variety, anything goes. What size are the trucks that'll be accessing this driveway, unless he's going to put in another driveway? Where are the customers going to park? We've had problems with customers parking in our driveway, as in the packet. We present this packet of pictures and reports showing the problems we've had from 2020 to present. I hope you'll be able to take time to read these documents and take them into consideration when making your decision. Thank you for your time.
Any questions for Mrs. Krosick?
No.
No? Okay.
So Bradley, if you would like to answer some of those questions,
Yes.
such as parking.
So pretty much the driveway situation is there's going to be no, you know, trucks going in and out of the driveway. You know, if there is a truck, it's going to unload on Route 7A. And pretty much, you know, for people coming in and out of the driveway, I pretty much do everything online where, you know, people don't even look at the stuff. They just pretty much buy it from pictures. And that's what the situation is, so.
But how is your equipment transported? You have a trailer or?
Right, yep. Sometimes you drive it in, you can drive it in, sometimes it's trailered in.
Okay, so are the radiuses on the entrance driveway sufficient to accommodate trailers?
Well, I mean, if there's a trailer, it's gonna unload in the road.
But think there's room in the road, is there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, and I mean, it's not like I'm going to be bringing, a bunch of equipment in there. It's pretty much, it's, I have like buy and sell equipment already online now that doesn't even come there. So, there might be 1 or 2 pieces in there at a time. I mean, it's not going to be a big mess. I keep my property nice. I mean, there's a driveway there it's not going to be a lot of people in and out of there.
Is your driveway a shared driveway?
No, they wanted that, but no.
It's deeded to you? Drew?
Yes.
It's a single curb cut with 2, so that it's 30 feet wide about, with 2 driveways coming off of that curb cut.
Oh, off the entrance?
Yeah, yeah. So it's not like a separate curb cut and then a separate curb cut. It's one curb cut with 2 driveways coming off of it.
So the curb cuts.
Yes, it's a single curb cut with 2 driveway accesses. Yeah.
Any more questions or anything from the audience? Yeah? Hey, you got
We'll
it.
have to have you come up. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Hi, I'm Janine Hempstead. I'm one of the neighbors to Mr. Roy. I don't know if it's east, south, north, or west. I just know I'm a neighbor, and I can see his house. The concerns that I have are that there has been big equipment and things in the front yard parked on the grass, which I can see from my house, as well as there's been a stake put in, and I don't know if that's the property line stake, but it's a recent thing in the last couple of weeks, painted red. So I'm not sure if equipment is going over there. That was never there before. So I don't know what that is or what it's denoting. I don't think a survey was done. So I'm a little concerned that there might be tractors over there, which is my property line. I believe it's my property line. Like I said, I don't know. The other concern I have is back in May, I received an email from the people who are doing the solar panels over on Rice Lane, asking me about my neighbor. I didn't know his name at that point, and they were, I have the email from them, if I could hand it to you guys.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I only made 2 copies. I didn't know there would be a bunch. You guys send it, where do I get it?
Once you start it down there, and then
There's 2 copies. And basically, he was asking me if I knew this neighbor. I said I didn't, and he said that he had been threatened and was letting me know that. So basically, I just have concerns if that kind of behavior is going to arise. That's my concern. And there, like I said, there has been equipment in the front yard, big pieces and trailers and, things out there, not behind the house. And it's been for the last couple of months.
thank you. Do you have any other information you want to share with the board, or is that?
No, there was a for sale sign on one of the pieces of equipment that was in the front yard, so.
Okay. Well, any questions for me? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'd like to move that we go into deliberative session on this, and also more than likely have a continuance because we're just handing out all this stuff. Not have time to go through it all.
Yeah. Anyone else want to second the motion for?
Should we give him a chance?
Oh,
Yeah, yep.
just wait 1 minute.
There's somebody with
Yeah.
a question.
I'm sorry.
What would you like to say?
So pretty much the pin that got put in is the property pin, and the equipment that is going to be for sale is going to be, it's on the plans behind the building, and the stuff that is in the front yard is my personal stuff that's all registered. And I don't know anything about me threatening some solar company, so that's new to me, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's a question here I'd like
Yeah.
So I'm David Spur with Blaze Design. I'm a surveyor, a local surveyor. And many years ago, 5 or 6 or so, something to that effect, I was asked by Mr. Roy to take his half-acre lot or thereabouts and do a boundary line adjustment with the larger house below. I think it's closer to Rice Road, I believe it is, and do a boundary line adjustment. About where that red stake is, there was a corner, I don't know if it's still there, pounded flush to the ground. That's typical of what I do in a lawn. And then shortly thereafter, the water line came through, and that's why I say I don't know if the rod is still there or not. Anyway, I don't know anything about this equipment sales or anything like that, but I'm trying to clarify the boundary line. There was a boundary line adjustment done, went through the board. There is mapping and everything that, you know, as per state and town statutes and everything, it's all filed and recorded accordingly. So that is where the property line is, about where that red stake is. I have not stopped and looked, but it's about in that vicinity. That being said, or should be. But that's a, you know, and that's all I can say about the boundary.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
As for the rest of it, good luck, sir. Any other questions related to the boundary I can answer on any and all of those, but that's. And as for the shared driveways and such, he has about a 10 or 12-foot driveway, 15-foot driveway, and then you have about a 50-foot or something to that effect right-of-way to the roads and to houses out back, or 30-foot or something to that effect width road to the roads out, to the houses out back.
It's just our house.
It's your house out back? Okay, I misspoke. But you're right, it's a double wide, it looks like a double wide driveway because of that. That's how that works out. It's a very wide curb cut right in that vicinity, but it's actually 2 different distinct property line. There's a property line that runs right in between them. And he has his own driveway, they have their own driveway, and that's how that works.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
So we had a motion for, to go into deliberative session for this. How would,
Ron made the motion, and who seconded it?
Jane.
You do?
Okay.
And how would the board like to vote? Vote yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So just for folks to know what deliberative session means, at the end of this meeting, the board will go into deliberative session, which is a private deliberation, and they'll make their decision most likely tonight, and then notify everyone who spoke this evening in writing what the decision is. Brad, if you want to call me in the morning, I'm happy to let you know what it is. Mrs. Krosik, if you want to call me, but that's it. And there's no more discussion tonight, Brad.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So that's how that'll work, and we'll let everybody know. So thank you very much for your patience with us tonight. Yes, Jane?
Susan Beal and David Pearson, they didn't hear my statement.
Oh, yes, so let's reiterate before we get started with that hearing, just to make sure they're comfortable. Okay, thank you, Jane, that's a good point. All right, so we'll have deliberative session to likely make a decision this evening and notify everybody in writing later this week with regard to that application. Next hearing this evening is Vicky Bugby at 759 Orbed Road. These folks are seeking approval of a 2-lot subdivision on Orbed Road. And I believe Mr. Spur will be presenting this evening on this particular subdivision.
So when you're ready, but Vicky owns a big piece of chunk of property on the kind of sort of the corner of Orbed Road. You've crossed over the paper mill bridge, I believe it's called, and headed that way down to Orbed Road. And she owns this, and she's giving elderly in a sense that now she wants to sell this piece here to her son. And I've worked with Trinity Engineering, the septic designer, and we've designed, or he's designed a septic back here in the woods, and to place the house back here also in the woods with limited cutting and clearing. And then the property goes along this stone wall all the way back to the state line. And similar to the other lots, they're all long and rectangular like that, or a lot of them are. And then we're just wanting to cut it into two pieces so that he can be close to Mom. Dad died recently, and he wants to make sure that she's taken care of. And that's the purpose of this.
Is there any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience?
Good evening, my name is Jerron Mustaine. I own the property when you're facing Bug B directly to the left at 911 Orbit Road. My question is about the septic. Mr. Bugby, the son, called me wanting permission to get into the spring that is on my property to put the septic, to run through it. So
No.
that is my question.
So,
David, why don't we let her finish and then you can come up?
sorry.
So my question is it going, how is the septic going to affect 911 Orbit Road?
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, that is
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I can show you right here, ma'am. Here's the spring, and here is the spring shield that's state mandated 350 feet uphill, and that's what I believe it is, but the engineer actually designed it, so if I'm off on my numbers. And then here is the well, and way over here is the septic. And here's the septic shield that goes around it. So it's not anywhere near the spring, which is way down here by the road.
So I guess can I speak again?
Yes.
I guess my question is, why did I get a phone call needing permission to get on my property to get the septic, and that asking me what I plan on doing with my property? Because I'm going to have a septic put in if I put a house on my property.
It was a precautionary question because of the spring. We needed to know what you were going to do with it, if anything. If you were going to close it, cancel it, or otherwise, because we have access to it. We have rights to it. And
No, you don't. I have the deed and everything. They have no rights.
We have rights to it. I could show you in our deed. We have spring water rights to that spring.
It's from previous owners. The Bugbees do not have permission. I have the legal deed right here.
Yes, ma'am. I'll discuss it afterwards, and I can show it to you. It continues forward unless it's written out, and it's not been written out. It has to be written out in order for it to stop.
So according to this, it's talking about people that are deceased that
Yes, ma'am.
had.
Correct. And I'm not discouraging, but water rights continue forward unless they're written out. And you have to physically actually write them out. And if you do not physically actually write them out, then they continue forward forever. And you
So
have
I
not-
don't know if this is going to be productive, obviously.
And that's why I'm saying we'll talk about it afterwards.
So we understand you don't think they have rights. David's saying they do. I don't think it's relevant to this particular subdivision, but that's up to the board to decide. And do you have any other concerns?
So do I need to seek legal counsel?
If you believe your rights are being infringed upon with regard to the spring, absolutely.
All right.
But that's not something the board's
I
going
will talk to
to
the
enforce.
doctor and I'll show you.
Thank you.
In regards to the septic system, that is regards with the state, right?
Yes.
That we don't have any decisions on, we don't make any decisions on septics, so
Yeah.
that would be the state.
Septic systems are the exclusive jurisdiction of the state of Vermont, and so the town has no authority over septic systems except to require that there's a certificate filed by the engineer that says it was installed in accordance with the state permit before we issue a certificate of occupancy for any new structure. So that's where our authority ends, and the state's basically has all other authority.
And we have a permit in process with the state right now.
Well, you couldn't build it without a permit, so build the septic without.
Just a question, you stated a distance between the spring and the site for the future on-site wastewater. What's that distance? What's the separation between the two?
I am not a septic designer, and I'm not a wastewater designer, but I believe off the top of my head, it's 350 for a open source water, like a spring.
That's the actual distance you're providing?
And that is what, whatever this is, what the engineer put on here is what it is. And I'll phrase it that way. So here's the spring here, and this is the shield for the spring. And then here's the well, and I know that this is 100 and 200. So this is either 350 or 500 feet uphill.
The scale, yeah, here's the scale, it's 100.
Right.
200, so yeah, it's quite a distance.
And then
the
here's
spring
the-
is
Correct, right on the corner of the property. And then here's the septic.
okay.
And here's the red shield for the septic.
And this is, it's going to be downhill from it, but
So he's, so we're talking
800 feet, maybe.
a healthy 6 or 8, yes, sir.
Okay, just thank you.
Any more questions from the board? From the audience? Okay, any motions or anything from the board? I make a motion to approve as presented.
All right, I'm going to second it, just move this along.
Yeah.
All those in favor, right?
All those in favor?
So 4 to,
I'm abstaining.
okay. So 4 with 1 abstention. So that is approved. Okay, thank you. Our next application is William Kinney, 907 Willow Road. They are seeking approval of a 2-lot subdivision. We have 3 2-lot subdivisions tonight. Second, the 2-lot subdivision is this one on Willow Road. They're seeking approval for a 2-lot subdivision on Willow Road. And David, looks like you're up again.
That's why I turned it around. Same scenario as the last time. This is the end of Willow Road extension. You can see this property from the, the 278, 279 bypass, right there where the, if you're coming from Brattleboro and Bellows Falls, before going up to Rutland, if you were to stand there and risk your life and look over the bank, you would be standing right about here, and you would look at this property down over into this property. Or this is, I'm not sure what this road is here, but this is the end of Willow Road. And the owners have put big stones right in here somewhere because they got tired of people four-wheeling and tearing up their property up this dirt road or what's mostly a dirt road of Willow Road extension-ish. And once again, the daughter lives somewhere in Maine, and she wants to move closer to home. And Dad or Mom or whatever says, they have a large piece of property, and we can divide it in two and give you some of it. And she goes, fantastic. And how does it look like this? And once again, I've worked with Trinity Engineering. They've subdivided a piece. We also had another element involved, which was state wetlands. So they called in a wetlands delineator. They delineated they delineated and marked out. So then that's all shown on the map where the both by flagging and or by digitization, but by flagging we're in close proximity of the wells and or septic. By further away, by digitization, where the wetlands is in this area. There is a major culvert in there that goes underneath that roadway and then goes underneath the 279 bypass and such as it travels through. And it's about where that big black dot is on your map, and it's marked as such. And when I say large, it's like 60 inches. But it's also about 30 feet down from where the road is. So, the road height.
Any questions from the board?
I got one. The access, the roadway going up through, is that deeded? Do you own it? I guess this is a question for Bill.
Go ahead. What was it?
Well, you'll have to sign in, that's all. You'll have to sign in. Okay, the old roadway that's there, that runs up through next
Yes.
to the, is that deeded to you? Do you own that?
No.
It's a town right away.
It's a town right away. So does he have to have, is that what you're using to get into the land?
Yes.
Maybe this makes no difference, I don't know, but does he have to have some sort of permit from the town to do that?
So
Permit?
he does, it is a town right away, so he does have access. What will likely happen, if they wish to do improvements, there'll be an agreement with the town about what improvements they can make, and that it's very likely that the owner of the property will then be responsible for maintaining those improvements, because it's not currently a maintained road.
But he has a right to use it?
Yes, he does.
Okay, that was my question. You have a right to use it, I'm okay with it.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions or comments from the audience? What's the board's pleasure?
I'll make it. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Okay, that's 5. Thank you very much. All right, David, you're done. We're on to the...
Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
The next hearing, this is Susan Beal and David Pearson, 215 Bird Hill, which you probably have never heard of. It's off of Monument Avenue Extension. and they are seeking approval of a two-lot subdivision. And Jane, I know you wanted to make a statement before you got started, just because
Before you came, I said I had worked with you 4 years ago, and I had no problem thinking that I would be impartial, and Peter thought I would be impartial on this thing, so it's now up to you.
So thank you very much. Thanks for disclosing that, Jane. All right.
Good evening. My name is Brian Costello. I'm from the EK Associates Land Sales. We produced this lot subdivision for Mrs. Susan Beal and David Pearson. The
Brian,
existing
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but did you sign in?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. I just didn't see it, and I know that for the minutes, we'd want to make sure we get your name right. So sorry to interrupt.
First thing. Okay. So the parcel, as it exists now, is approximately 41.7 acres. We're creating a 5.244 acre parcel. The remaining land would be 36.45 acres. We've allowed for a 50-foot right-of-way. The boundary lines, we used existing natural features, stone walls, the edge of the woods, tried to make it fit back in the landscape. The house is tucked back in the back of the field next to the woodland, and it has little to no visibility from the road as you drive by. And it's serviced by a common well with the other, there's 2 or 3 homes that are there existing, and the well services those parcels as well as the house that's on there, and there is a designed and permitted septic system on the property.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the map, on your paper here, is that a right-of-way that cuts into that land on the main drive?
That's for the legal right-of-way to gain access to the property. There's no intention on building that. There's an existing road and access way to the house now that will be used, to access the house. But that is to show that they do have sufficient area and grade and slope that they could do
That could be a future right-of-way?
That could be a future right-of-way if things go bad.
And what's the other small one that cuts into that land? Is that an old farm road?
That's the old farm road. The driveway now that it exists comes through the barnyard and comes into the new home.
How does this fit into the potential development for the rest of this site? And I ask because people I've talked to say there's conservation easement on a lot of this land. I don't know whether that's true or not. I have no knowledge of it. But it is very scenic. Is there expectation that more lots will be developed off of this, or is that an option?
At this point, I don't know. We're presenting this one-lot subdivision. I believe the property to the south has multiple restrictions on it, agricultural restrictions.
Property, not this property,
But not this
the one
property.
on the hillside for the pines.
Excuse me, okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any questions or comments from the audience? Okay. What would the board like to do?
Go ahead. I'll
Make a
second.
motion to approve as presented?
I'll second.
Okay. All of those in favor?
5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have one other issue tonight. It's other business. It is a request for a one-year extension to a permit that was already issued. Our regulations state that if a property owner requests an extension, it is to be reviewed under other business at the next available meeting. So I did receive a request, and it is in your packet, from RGN Bennington Holdings LLC to extend the permit for what is commonly known as the Tuttle's property in town. You'll recall that that was a about a 60 to 65,000 square foot mixed-use development with about 60 apartments, I believe, proposed. There have been no proposed changes to the plans. There have been no changes to the regulations. So it's up to the board, but it does seem to be a fairly straightforward request for a one-year extension as they continue to work to redevelop this parcel.
Is this a,
Grant the extension.
what did you say?
He moved to grant the extension, but you had a
I'm
comment.
just curious, is this the first extension?
Yes.
Okay.
And Jane seconds. All those in favor?
Okay.
I'm going to abstain, I know nothing about it.
Four with one abstention. Okay, so that is, you have a one-year extension from today, and I'll make sure you get that documentation of that. Thank you. All right. So you didn't even have to say anything. Good for you. All right. All right, we do have a deliberative session, so,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
okay.
All those in favor?
And then you can, then we'll go into deliberative session. And Brad will contact you in the morning. If you haven't heard from me, give me a shout, and I'm happy to let you know what the decision was. So thanks so much.